Okay, so I was just kind of tipped off by a little birdie that there are some major price changes literally happening today, the day you're watching this video, and not just because of Amazon Prime Days. Prime Days actually is probably not even gonna reflect any of this stuff, but I'm telling you right now, if you've been waiting for the right time to buy a graphics card, and you think that time is gonna be when they launch 40 series, I've got news for you. Don't wait, buy your graphics card today. And here's why. Well, actually right after this message is why. The Corsair HS65 gaming headset features Dolby 7.1 surround, SonarWorks Sound ID for customized audio tastes, on-ear volume controls for easy adjustment, and leatherette memory foam ear cups for fatigue-free long-term gaming sessions. To see the full feature list of the Corsair HS65 gaming headset, follow the link in the description below. We'll be looking at a few different retailers here to kind of compare pricing, because what I am being told is we are going to see the biggest price reduction officially, like Nvidia sponsored / promoted price reductions we've probably ever seen in the history of Nvidia graphics cards. To understand how we got here, just a little quick backstory. This is like the culmination of the perfect storm. Well, the perfect storm for the manufacturers and Nvidia themselves, and the perfect cross-intersect of events to happen for customers to bring the biggest price reductions that we've probably ever seen. As we know, cryptocurrency crash is continuing. It is continuing to just fall and fall and fall. And with that, the fall of NFTs and just the everything we've kind of wanted to see in terms of price reductions happening because of what's happening in full industry collapse. As the pandemic raged on and as shortages raged on, price and scalping and cryptocurrency and all that just drove the prices to astronomical rates. I mean, 3080 Ti's, 3080s costing $2,200, $2,500 a piece. Absolutely terrible pricing. But as manufacturers ramped up production as fast as they could and as aggressive as they could to meet that demand, came the absolute sudden reduction in demand because of cryptocurrency crash alone. That meant scalping was no longer viable. That meant, just again, the perfect storm of now having a surplus of product. And if you understand even the most basics when it comes to supply and demand, and unfortunately, based on the comments, many of you don't. If we have a surplus of supply, then obviously that means the demand is lower than supply, which means prices have to come down because of the fact that you have a surplus. So for the longest time, we've had a shortage of supply and a just abundance of demand, meaning price goes up. When you flip that, price drops dramatically, and this is practically overnight. One of the very first messages that I got from a sharp-eyed consumer / viewer was, hey Jay, did you notice that Nvidia reduced, and remember, all Nvidia Founders Edition cards are being sold officially by Best Buy in North America, and I think Micro Center might have some, but Best Buy for sure. So any pricing that you see at Best Buy is actually controlled by Nvidia, because Best Buy is Nvidia's official reseller of their products. 3090 Ti dropped from $2,000 MSRP to $1,599. And it's my understanding that price is gonna go even lower. But right now, at the time of making this video, $1,599 from $1,999. That means that puts the 3090 Ti in basically the same price category as the 3090. So what happened to the 3090? I don't know. Let's see if we can even find any 3090 non-Ti's at Best Buy. So the 3090 is $1,499, still at MSRP. And basically what they did was they left the 3090 Ti just $100 above the 3090. Which is absolutely nuts. And you're gonna be seeing these price reductions across the board with all AIBs on everything from probably 3070s and up. Let's go ahead and move on now to Newegg. As much as I hate mentioning Newegg, it's still some place where we can definitely at least gauge the prices. So let's look at 3090 Ti's on Newegg. So we've got 3090s for $1,200, 3080 Ti for $1,049. And these are all custom cards, by the way. Remember, they're not gonna be Founders Edition cards because those are being sold by Best Buy and I think Micro Center. We'll check Micro Center pricing here in a second as well. 3090 Ti Supreme, $1,799. So again, that's $200 below MSRP. 3090 Ti MSI Gaming X Trio for $1,699. 3090 non-Ti for $1,299, 3090 for $1,499. So they're all over the place, but still custom cards now at MSRP. And what's funny is we checked the prices of this stuff this morning, and some of these prices that I'm actually seeing right now weren't even there this morning. So the tip that I got was throughout the day to like that you see this July 12th, the time of filming this, and the time of it going live. This is the same day upload. Prices are falling throughout the day. So this is one of those Nvidia pushed price reductions, but it's taking time for AIB channels to get the prices updated in their systems and also sent out to the retailers. Let's check 3080, shall we? 3080, now here's the thing, 3080 has a 10 gig and a 12 gig. What you're gonna see is 12 gigs sell out before 10 gigs as far as I can understand and tell. Let's see, Gigabyte Gaming OC GeForce RTX 3080 10 gig for $799. Okay, now if you remember, MSRP on the 3080 I believe was $700. So that's still a little bit above. 3080 Ti, remember that's a $1,200 MSRP. MSI Gaming GeForce Gaming X Trio for $1,049. So yes, I know that these are still very expensive cards and very out of reach for many people, but what you're seeing here is a price reduction from $1,249 down to $1,049. So nearly 20% price reduction overnight on this. These prices are falling and they're falling fast. 3080 for the Win 3 card, 10 gig, $869. That was a $1,000 card the day it launched, before things went completely out of control. So price reduction galore happening here. Here's the craziest part, is that you can now buy pre-built systems with these 3070 and up cards in there for $2 grand. To put this in perspective, just a couple months ago, any system that had a 3080, well, a 3080 by itself was over $2,000, just a few months back. So put that in perspective, you can now get an Intel i7 12700KF with a 3070 Ti and 16 gigabytes of memory, 1 terabyte NVMe SSD for $1,900. So I mean, that's, I feel bad for anyone that actually built their system in the last few months, because they're gonna see these prices now and be like, oh my God. Let's take a look at what's happening right now on EVGA's website, because they sell direct. And like a lot of the AIBs they don't, like Asus, MSI, they don't have like their own e-store that's nearly as prevalent as like EVGA's. We have got right now in stock, limit 2 per household, which used to be limit 1, if you recall. It's limit 2 now. EVGA RTX 3080 12 gig Ultra Hybrid, $799, direct from EVGA. So $800, that's a $500 instant rebate. It was $1,299 just the other day. So if you bought this card just a couple days ago, man, does that suck. But unfortunately, you know, there's only so much lead time that we can even get these videos out and even know that they're coming. $800. Same thing for the 3080 Ti or the 3080 12 gig Hydro Copper, which is the one that basically has a water block on it that you plumb into your own loop. Same thing, $799 for that card. That card was $1,349 just the other day. $550 instant rebate. They're out of stock right now, but 1650 XC, not exactly the highest end gaming card, but certainly something that's decent for 1080p medium settings, get you up and running, $169. 1650 XC just the other day, like just a few months ago, was $300+. So a 3080 12 gigabyte XC3 for $799. The MSRP on that card is showing $1,249. That's inflated. That $1,249 on EVGA's website, that was basically like, I call it pandemic shortage pricing. $799 for a 3080 12 gig. 3080 Ti XC3, again, MSRP on that was $1,329, $1,099. 3070 Ti, $759. These prices are going to continue to fall. I have a feeling that as we look throughout the day and perhaps even throughout the week, we'll see these prices go even lower. But here's the thing, if you're not interested in buying an Nvidia card, do you know what happens when the competitor drops their prices? Well, you have to drop your prices. So that means AMD is also dropping their prices because they have to stay competitive with Nvidia, especially knowing that tier for tier, AMD is a little bit behind on the technology and a little bit behind on the FPS, mostly depending on the title, but because they don't have the Tensor cores and their DLSS equivalent is not quite as progressed as DLSS 2.0, they have to keep their prices competitive. So if we go ahead and just look at graphics cards here, let's look at the 6800 XT. 6800 XT, looks like we're looking at about $700, $699. That was originally $800. So that's his limited time offer, ends 7/18. I bet you it ends up dropping even more. And that's the thing, the 60 series cards for like Nvidia, 3050s, 3060s, like 3070 non-TIs, you're probably not gonna see any real price drops much. You'll see some price drops there, but you're gonna see the biggest price drops obviously start at the top. I mean, over $500 discounts because of the fact that those cards aren't moving. And the whole reason for this, as we already know, there's absolutely no surprise here, is that Nvidia has to move these 30 series surpluses right now, because what we've got here is this intersect of all of that supply that they were rushing to try and meet, or the demand they're trying to meet with upping the supply quantity and the supply chains and pushing production as hard and as fast as they could. Well, now they're sitting on a pile of graphics cards that nobody wants, because over the last 2 years that the 30 series has been around, most people have been able to either, they just gave in and bought scalper pricing if they were able to afford it, or they finally bought maybe used cards, or they ended up buying hand-me-downs or something, and so now they're set. They don't need a card anymore. And the scalpers aren't buying anything because they can't make any money on it, and the cryptocurrency miners aren't buying anything because F is still talking about its proof of stake, which at this point it's like, you know what? They're never gonna make the move to proof of stake, it feels like, because they've been talking about it for years now and they still haven't done it. But the threat of it and the reduced value of ETH has made the cost of mining it just no longer worth it to a lot of people. So they're just not buying cards anymore. In fact, they're dumping cards into the market and the used market as fast as they can. And again, be careful when you buy a used card. You don't know if it was used for mining, so the memory on that stuff could be completely hammered when it comes to the wear and tear of the card. But if you just have a market being flooded with both new and used inventory, what happens? Demand is super down, supply is super up, price has to drop. So there you go. There's already a price drop on that card. The 6800 XT Phantom D Gaming, $689 right now. That is probably one of the best deals you're gonna find right now, honestly. What about the 6900 XT? I'm kind of curious. If you haven't told by the tone of this video, right now is the absolute time that you should be buying a card. The ASRock Radeon RX 6900 XT, $798. Remember, the MSRP on the 6900 XT was $1,000 because they were landing in between a 3080 and a 3090 in terms of just all-out rasterization performance. Taking ray tracing and DLSS type stuff aside, just straight up rasterization performance was right in between a 3090 and a 3080. So really competing more with a 3080 Ti. $798 for a 6900 XT. Is it in stock? Yes. It's right there in stock. You probably can't. For now. Literally, you could have it, get it tomorrow, order within 4 hours and 52 minutes. I would honestly personally take the 6900 XT over the 3090 or 3080 Ti for that price, because you could save $300, about $300. Let's put it this way. The price you saved on that 6900 XT versus the 3080 Ti could just about pay for your CPU. Especially if you're going Ryzen for like 5800X or something like that. 5800X would be like the perfect gaming. 5800X 3D is the best, but $600, but 300 and some odd dollars, you just about paid for your CPU with the price difference. So as you can see, the competition of driving down the price of Nvidia and the circumstances being what they are means AMD has to follow suit. And I really hope you guys follow suit by, if you're waiting for the right time to buy a GPU, it is quite literally right now, this very second. They're in stock, they're massively discounted, and they're doing this because they will not launch a 40 series while there is a surplus of 30 series, because they know that what's gonna happen is the premium price of a 40 series will not have a great allure to it, so people are just gonna go buy 30 series. So what are they gonna do? They're gonna reduce the prices of 30 series now to blow out the inventory. That way when 40 series comes out, you don't have the option of buying 30 series. I've talked about this in previous videos. The wrong mentality people have, and I've seen this over and over in the comment section of my videos, especially when I talked about the news regarding pricing of 40 series, or the leaked pricing of 40 series. And anytime I've mentioned this is people go, I'm just gonna wait for 40 series to launch because while everyone's trying to get that, I'll just go get the 30 series. No, that's wrong. You're wrong. You are 100% incorrect. It will not be available because it will already be, they've already stopped production on 30 series. I can promise you that. They're already ramped up and are doing full production runs right now of 40 series because they want to have as much inventory as possible at launch. I know it doesn't sound like it. I know it seems like people are just claiming paper launch. They absolutely launched more 30 series on day one than they've ever launched of any graphics card in the history of Nvidia. They do not want that 30 series in stock, so they are waiting until these are gone. And if you're waiting, then you're an idiot because they're gonna be gone and you're gonna be finding yourself in a situation where you can't get either. Again, history repeats itself and people are still gonna find themselves in this spot because they refuse to listen. So for those of you out there that are intelligent enough to understand what I'm saying, go buy your graphics card right now if you're in the market and you're waiting for 40 series to launch for 30 series price and drop. It just dropped. What are you waiting for? Stop this video and go buy something, whether it be AMD or Nvidia now. I know I sound angry because some of you are stubborn as and you're gonna not listen and you're gonna miss out. And I'm trying to help you, so go!